This evening, I have a very special guest who is joining me for 15 questions with Ted Rodney from Cardsphere. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. It's getting a little hot up here in Canada, so I'm got a little dewiness going on, but I'm ready for the questions, Chris.
Yeah, we're getting a little warm over here too. We're getting a little muggy. So, but I mean, let's for users and viewers of my channel who may have never heard of Cardsphere, let's take a moment and kind of just talk about what Cardsphere is and how you sort of came up with Cardsphere.
Sure. So Cardsphere is a peer-to-peer market for Magic the Gathering cards. Our users buy, sell, and trade Magic singles and sealed product. The special thing about us is that it's an inverse market, which is sometimes called a push market. So the sellers choose when to fulfill offers that the buyers make. No negotiation is required at all, and we're special in that we're the only sort of peer-to-peer push market that operates backed by the US dollar. So at any time, if people aren't getting the cards that they want on Cardsphere, they can withdraw their money and go buy the cards elsewhere. Doesn't happen a lot, though.
Nice. So basically with Cardsphere, I think about it this way, like on MTGO, I can deposit money and turn it into, it's just money really, right? It's not like coins like other ones, or it's not like tickets like MTGO. It's just real world money, right? Yeah.
It's absolutely 100% US dollars. So people, if they want to build up an account balance, they can do a couple of different things. They can send out cards they have that they can see other people want, and Cardsphere presents them with packages that they can choose to optimize either I want to send out the most number of cards, or I want just to make the most money from my cards, or I want to optimize the efficiency and get the biggest bonus for the cards,
Very nice.
Yeah. And all of that happens with money that is put into escrow while trades are happening, so that there's no chance of anyone, being ripped off. And once trades are completed successfully, Cardsphere hands over the money to the correct party, and the cycle renews itself. So lots of people do use it as a straight selling or buying avenue for Magic cards, but we find that more and more often what happens is once people get started using the system, they end up falling into the model a bit more, where they're trading piles of cards for other piles of cards. A well-known Magic finance guy, James Chilcott, actually said it's a lot like TCG player without the cash involved, because everything happens with your account balance.
Nice. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. So now I have 15 questions. We all know the format of this particular show, but I have one bonus question for you that I think would be great for everybody out there. How many active users do you have?
How many active users?
Like how many accounts do you have? Like it's like close to several thousand, right?
We do. So we've been in business for about just over a year now, and we have 12,000 and change registered users. Not all of those are active, but we certainly have a very strong community where there's lots of card flow every day. And people, unless they have very sort of niche-y kind of wants, are getting the cards they want. So I don't have the exact number on how many have been totally active or continue to be active, because we also see people come in and out of the system at various times,
Gotcha. Yeah. So, but I mean 12,000 accounts. That's that's pretty good for only a year.
It's not bad, and of those 12,000 accounts, over $1 million worth of cards. If you look at the value of the trades, $1 million has been traded.
That's phenomenal. Okay, so not to take up too much time, let's go ahead and let's just dive right into it. So question one, we're going to start with some easy, just casual conversation.
Okay.
Why did you create Cardsphere?
I created Cardsphere with the other two founders, Tom Rees and Michael Baranov. simply because we needed a place to trade our cards online. Um, in my particular example, I don't like negotiating in a shop, with people checking their phones and, you know, debating about this pile of cards for that pile of cards. I find it takes too much time, and I'm not actually really good at negotiation. So I would always tend to come out a bit worse on the deal. And that, over time turned into kind of a feel bad. So I discovered online trading, and after trying a bunch of different systems and having success with many of them, I decided that online trading was the right way to do it for me, but I needed a better system. So with my two partners, we set out to build that system, and that's the story. That's the whole impetus.
Nice, nice, nice. So, you guys have been in business for about a year now, or a little over a year, right?
Right.
What is your favorite function as a trader yourself? Like, what is your favorite feature of your platform?
I like that I can see the highest offer for any card at any time. So when I actually open a lot of booster boxes because my wife likes to play sealed.
Oh wow!
And so I'm opening a lot of cards. If she wasn't playing sealed, I would be only getting singles ever and not playing the lottery so much. So when a new set comes out, I'm right there on day one buying boxes to play sealed, and I want to move the money cards as quickly as possible. So last weekend I actually played Battle Bond, and I cracked some okay stuff, not any of the foiled out chase cards, but I did get Arena Rector and True Name Nemesis, and these aren't cards I expect that I'm going to use. So with Cardsphere, I like that I can go look up the card, find out what the top offer is, and commit to that. So I'm getting the most money available in the system for the card. And then once I already have that trade committed, I can go and look at what else that user wants. And the best rush, the best feeling I get is when the person wants an Arena Rector and I'm getting my $20 from them for that card, but then I can throw in another 4 commons that are worth 30 cents each that I never would have been able to buy list or include in a trade anywhere else. So that's my personal rush as a trader, being able to attach the low value cards to the trades.
Nice. Yeah, like that's one of the things too for me, right? Like I have like all of these, like just right here in my little like tray here of cards that I mean, like, what am I gonna do with these? Like I just like I can't throw them away, but it's like, what do I do with them? So you hit the nail on the head, where it's like you have these little cards that you wouldn't move otherwise that you can move then within a package, which is great. I like that.
Yeah. The only crappy thing about it is that all those combat tricks and stuff, I used to separate out stuff that would never go anywhere, and I would give them to kids to start their collections off. So I guess I'm a bit of a Grinch that way now.
Yeah.
This is all draft chafe behind you. You see that? So it's boxes and boxes of junk cards that I'm just dying for a chance to move.
There you go. So me excluded. So this is the third question. Me excluded, because, well, I know you love the channel, but who is your favorite YouTuber that you sort of watch? Or I should say maybe not just one, maybe a collective of a few that you just continuously watch their stuff because you like it.
I watch a lot of YouTubers. So I think I'm very lucky in that the ones that I objectively like the best, I've been able to work with a little bit. So the first sort of Magic name from the community that reached out to us and we started talking to was Kevin Crimmin, the Rogue Deck Builder. And I am a absolute lover of jank like you wouldn't believe. So, when Kevin whips up a spicy brew, I like to watch that. I've told him I loved his Waste Not Storm videos and, put that deck together. And my partner Michael just shook his head because he's playing twin, and all I'm trying to do is go off with waste not, right? So I absolutely love Rogue Deck Builder. I love what John and I sponsor John Dunning with They Said We Said, the Hive Mind show.
Yeah, I like his stuff.
I mean, he's an amazing interviewer. And other than that, I think those would be my favorite ones right now. And again, I think that's independent of the relationship, but. I love the girls at Magic the Amateuring. I've been listening to their podcast since day one, and I like everything they do. And I like to watch the gameplay videos from Magic Aids.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah,
there's so many to choose from. We could talk all night about this.
yeah. It was more of a just kind of like set the stage of what kind of content does Ted consume, because. Yeah. Everybody has their different flavors of content, right?
Yeah, that's true. Probably my favorite content, though, for Magic, and one that we don't have enough of, I think, is I love listening to people talk about game theory and just do a lecture. So I think there's a great Chapin video out there where he's talking about game theory, and another one where Richard Garfield is. Actually, they might have been on the same cruise and both did talks. And I think that's awesome. And I wish we had more conversation just about Magic game theory.
Yeah, have you seen Magic Sam? Ristic Studies, not Magic Sam, Ristic Studies, like the stuff that he's done.
It's not coming to the top of my mind, but that doesn't mean I haven't seen it.
He does a lot of. You should look him up. He does a lot of good stuff on like the history and theory crafting. Like he did one on just specifically the borders of Magic cards and why they are what they are.
Yeah,
and
I dig that. Yeah, for sure.
His stuff is amazing. I'll send you a link to his if you can't find it. But I think you'd really like his videos.
That sounds like it.
All right, so moving along, we are now going to move into the Magic the Gathering portion of the questions. Okay. Just to kind of set up for you. So the first question is, well, when did you start playing Magic? Like, what hooked you in? What is Ted's origin story for Magic the Gathering?
My origin story is the Pen and Pencil magazine, Games Magazine. They did a half-page article on Magic in probably 1994, 95. And as soon as I read this review, it was over. I instantly had to go out and find a starter pack, and it took me a little bit in Ottawa to find the Magic cards at first. But I was hooked. That first summer when I think I was around 20 or 21, I just I don't think I did anything else that summer other than go to a bar, come home, play Magic until 6 o'clock in the morning. So
nice.
It's kind of a wasted summer, but it did give me a lifelong affection for the game. I love all games, and I think Magic is the best one.
Yeah, I would agree. I love that. I keep on coming back and playing this game. So yeah, I'm totally right there with you. I've been playing since '94, and I'm still playing. I want to teach my kids.
Absolutely, and the great thing about Magic is that it's not just one game, right? It's a platform for many games, and I love the space and the variety that gives the players.
So going in and talking about playing until 3 a.m, like, so the next question I have is, back in the day, what was your favorite deck to play? Like, what was the kind of deck that you played? It doesn't have to be something specific, but
it was like the size of an EDH deck. It was Wooburg, and it made no goddamn sense. So deck building and proper statistical management of what a deck is that came much later, right? That I didn't see that until I had been out of Magic for probably 8 years before coming back in, and then the game theory was strong and people knew how to calculate proper mana bases. But when I started playing, what I always played was we used to call it Pentacle Magic.
Okay.
So 5 players, each sitting in a pentacle, and you won by the 2 people across from you losing.
Oh, okay. All right.
Right. So you had allies and enemies, just like in the color pie.
Nice. So it's like so it's like Commander, but yeah, I like that.
Yeah, it was like pre-Commander, right?
Yeah.
So I've always liked multiplayer. My partner Michael will not play multiplayer. He wouldn't come and do Battle Bond. He won't play EDH. He hates it. He just is 100% modern, and he plays all kinds of limited, but just as long as it's 2 people playing, he's fine. Will not play any other format.
Yeah, I know quite a few people. Actually, somebody who I'm going to be working with on the channel as well as the store. He also is not a huge fan of Commander or any of these like the 2-headed giant or anything like that. He's like, nah,
right.
I just rather not. I'm like, okay.
There's no point in arguing with them.
No,
right?
Absolutely not. So my next question is, so what is, and this is going to get a little bit more serious on the Magic front because I think this is a very interesting question because everybody has a different way of approaching it. And that's, what is your least favorite thing that Wizards has created or has done in modern day Magic?
Does it have to be in Magic proper? Because I really don't like that they did like Magic Puzzle Quest and all these sort of cross promos pimping out the characters.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of that. And actually, I think that I'm usually not a fan of anything that seems to be a little bit too pandering. And I think that sometimes Wizards in trying to improve the game and make it a little more clear and accessible, which I think they've done successfully. Things like replacing regeneration with temporary indestructibility. I think that makes sense. I think it is more clear and functionally is more or less the same thing. But I don't like it when I feel like they're dumbing the game down when the core audience is built of people that like complex things.
I would agree with that. Yeah, the regeneration thing was a little, it's interesting. Like it just kind of just went away. And I actually hear you on the the digital properties. Like I think like duels and stuff like that, like puzzle and all that. I think it's just like it's completely offbeat. So yeah, I totally agree with you on that.
I'm actually, I think, in the very small minority of people that would rather be playing Magic Online than Magic Arena. I felt like I was lucky enough to get a very early beta of it, and I appreciate that, and I think that Wizards has done a good job working with the community on the development of Arena, but I don't like Hearthstone. I don't want to play Hearthstone. I want to play the thinking person's game that doesn't have characters flying over the battlefield,
Yeah. I should actually, if you're interested, we could talk about Arena probably all night, but I should have you come back and we could talk about give your thoughts on Magic Arena because I'm actually going to be doing a little thing. But anyways, that's not this video. Let's go ahead and let's now flip it to the other side of the coin. What is your favorite thing about Wizards or Magic the Gathering? Anything that they've created or anything they've done? Like, what is your favorite thing? Like, and to specifically ask it, not necessarily for the love of the game, but a tangible thing of the game. What is your favorite thing in Magic the Gathering?
A tangible thing in the game.
Like if it's a excuse me, if it's a specific card or if it's a specific character or is it a you know, function or whatever it may be. Like, what is your favorite thing about Magic the Gathering?
So, you know, my gut instinct is to answer with that their continued commitment to trying new things and you know, shake the game up. I think that's my answer, but I'm worried that's not concrete enough for you. If I had to choose a favorite card in recent memory, the card that got printed that made me want to like go home and start brewing the most was Alicia, who smiles at death, from I think from Cons, either from Dragons or from Cons.
Nice. Yeah. I get, man, it's been a while since I've seen that card.
And that was sort of also in the heyday of tiny leaders, and I dig new formats, love the variety in them. And so, like, right away, she was my pre-release promo, and I'm like, oh man, this is so badass. And you know, I just had to go home and start researching the best cards to bring back from the graveyard with her, right? So I think that's the shiniest example for sure.
Nice. So Fast Five. The Fast Five is basically 5 questions that are just straight up yes or no answers. No other commentary needed, no other nothing, just yes or no.
Okay, very challenging.
Yes.
Okay.
This is very challenging. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Number 1. Will Magic the Gathering last another 25 years?
Yes.
Will the reserve list get printed again?
Yes.
Do you like planeswalkers in the game of Magic?
Yes.
Do more cards need to be unbanned in the game?
No.
Will Hasbro sell Wizards of the Coast?
Boy. Yes.
That was the Fast Five. So
that was traumatic.
so after that Fast Five, I'll give you a moment to decompress or unpile any of those answers that you sort of had, because clearly you had reservations on other ones. So is there unpacking of any of those questions that you'd like to sort of just put out there?
So I guess 2 of them. The reserve list, I think they'll be reprinted at some point, maybe in gold border or something, just to make the cards. I think they'll make a concession to the collectors and the players in some kind of middle of the road move where they release the cards with gold borders, and make them, you know, playable in certain tournaments or something. I think something like that could happen. And then the other one is Hasbro selling WotC. The only reason I said yes is because big companies buy and sell big companies all the time. I don't think they have any good reason to sell WotC, do they?
I don't think so. Like, even though you know, they have been showing declining earnings over year, I think overall that group, so they group Wizards of the Coast in several different properties, and that whole group is actually on the upswing. So I think Wizards of the Coast in that aspect is safe. But I think, you know, that's why you see the Arena and all these other properties being popped up, because Hasbro's knocking on the door and saying, hey, we need to do something with the digital property of Magic the Gathering, capitalize on that.
Right.
So,
and I can understand that. You know, I think what's good for a company with shareholders and what's good for, the users of any of the subsidiary products can be very different things. Like, if Hasbro is my company, the number one thing I would do is get them to stop making a goddamn Monopoly set for every friggin' character or show, or there's Monopoly for everything.
Yeah.
Every franchise out there has a Monopoly, and as an avid board gamer, I think it's awful. I mean, it's a terrible game to begin with, and then just slapping new pictures on the box every year and pushing it out the door is treating people like garbage, in my opinion. But it makes them a lot of money, and that's what the shareholders want, right?
Right. Well, and that's what Hasbro does, though, right? They just spit out new things of the same property over and over again. That's just what they do. And we shouldn't expect actually anything less from WotC than that, because they have, like, the CEO of Wizards of the Coast is the CEO of Hasbro. Like, they're the same person. And so it's a very interesting. And I asked this question because there's been so many people talking about, WotC's going to get sold by Hasbro. So it's always good to hear what other people's reactions are.
Well, I feel like Miss Marcia Wallace. The scamps around the campfire are always talking about something. So I try not to pay too much attention.
All right, so we have two more questions.
Okay.
This one might be a difficult one, but I like asking this because, again, getting these reactions are actually very, very fun and cool. But let's just say you work at Wizards of the Coast and you are a designer overall for Magic. Mm-hmm. If you had to change one thing about Magic right now, and again, primarily in the design space, whether it's story or people, whoever, like, what would you change? What would you do differently, and why?
Well, I think I'm going to sound a lot like everyone else. I really hate the Gatewatch. I like the individual characters, but I don't like them being super friends, and I don't like seeing them in every set. I think that when you give the public too much of one thing, I mean, it just becomes tired and bored. I don't want a Jace in every set. I don't want a Liliana in every set. And I don't want every set to be about their adventures, right? I wish that instead of 3 Ravnicas coming up, which, that announcement floored me because we just got away from blocks. And I get that they're giving themselves the space to do whatever they want. And I'm hoping that, as they have stated, the story demands 3 sets. But I would have rather go back to Lorwyn or have more new planes. I think that, even if they weren't the most powerful sets, I really enjoyed the newness in flavor of Ixalan and Amonkhet.
Nice. Yeah, I would agree. I would agree with you on that. So the final question, and we'll do some closing comments, but the final question is, somebody comes up to you on the street and says, "Hey, Ted, I'm going to want to play Magic the Gathering. I'm a new player. What advice can you give me about about playing Magic the Gathering? Whether it's, what should I do?"
Number 1, go play Magic Duels. Number 2, spend slowly and cautiously, or preferably get your cards off Cardsphere. That's a good one. And number 3 would be, don't let it become your everything.
That's some good advice. Some good advice. So before we close this out, I wanted to kind of just give an opportunity for you to sort of just talk about, is there anything you can share with viewers? Like, what's next for Cardsphere? Like, is there anything, that is coming up, or something that you can sort of just tease out to them and say, hey, this is coming?
Sure. So right now, Cardsphere has a single developer, so things proceed relatively slowly. And he's just spent a few months doing some refactoring, which is developer speak for, a redo or a cleanup, on some of our pages to make sure that they're ready for the future of Cardsphere. And we introduced some tagging features, which allow us to sort of have full functioning collection management in the product. And so once Michael gets finished with a sort of a large epic like that, something that takes a few months, he likes to go and go in the other direction. So right now, over the next few weeks, we're looking to clean up and fix some of the outstanding things that aren't right about Cardsphere right now. So if users have disagreements currently, or if they want to talk to each other in the messaging system about the quality of a card, we don't have a native way for them to upload images. They have to go and put it on Imager or Google Drive and copy a link in. And that happened because we were such a small team that there were certain workarounds that we felt were acceptable in the interest of getting the product out the door and getting people trading. But we want to clean up those now and make things a little more friendly for new users, so that if someone needs to upload a picture, the control is right there where they expect it to be, rather than having to find out from talking to other people that you have to use a link. So we've got some spot work to do on maturing the product and eliminating our last few workarounds. And after that, we do have a sort of advisory board of users that we rely on to help us guide the direction of the product. I know that a very high priority for year 2 is going to be giving users the ability to negotiate disputes to settlement on their own. And what I mean by that is, often people have different ideas about card condition. So I send out a near mint Liliana of the Veil to you, and you get it and say, well, I think this is slightly played instead. So right now what would happen is they would copy in a link to a picture that they took of the card, and me as the administrator, I help them sort of talk through, and is this an SP card or is it near mint, and try and get them to come to an agreement. But often what happens is the users come to an agreement on their own, and then they have to wait around for me to show up because I process the disputes once a day. We want to make it so that they can make those kinds of corrections on their own, which means the money is out of escrow quicker, and that means more cards flow.
Very nice.
So those are some upcoming small things, and we do have some longer-term plans for the year, but we'll be public about those as they're being developed, because we do seek a lot of community involvement.
No, absolutely. Oh, it's great stuff, man. So, yeah, I mean, if you guys have not been to cardsphere.com, please go there, check them out. If you want to trade cards, I'm on there, and I got a bunch of cards in there. Like, the site is just, it's first off, it's beautifully done. It's one of those things where it just works, and it does what the user wants it to do in that aspect. So you guys have a beautiful product, and I'm sure you're going to continue to evolve it and make it even sweeter and better, and have all those bells and whistles. And thanks again for joining me this evening, Ted, and carving some time out of your evening to do this.
Oh, well, thank you for having me. Very much appreciate the opportunity to get the word out and talk to anyone in the Magic community.